Hello everyone, Daryl here. Today we're at the site of the abandoned Summit Place Mall, formerly known as the Pontiac Mall, on Telegraph Road in Pontiac, Michigan. And we're coming in the north entrance here, which would have brought you directly in front of the original Montgomery Ward store, one of the anchor stores here at the mall, which was on the north end. Here's the main entrance, which is a little bit further south, taken about 1962 when the mall opened. And this is an overhead view of what the mall looked like at its peak of operation, at the beginning when it was first built, and after the expansion in 1987. The Montgomery Wards had 2 stories, full shopping, men's, women's clothes, sporting goods, appliances, toys, a big toy section if I remember right, lawn and garden, camping, the whole bit. It was a really great store. I liked Montgomery Ward's a lot. It was moderately priced and good quality merchandise. Yeah, I was a big fan of Montgomery Ward's. The other anchor stores here in the beginning were Kresge's, which moved out here from downtown Pontiac, and Hudson's, along with a Kroger grocery store and a huge variety of specialty stores lining the inside corridors. This Boater's World and the restaurant next to it were added on after Montgomery Ward's filed bankruptcy and went out of business finally. And this was the north end of the mall at one point. There was no Sears or the food court or anything like that when the mall first opened. Now we're going to head south. This is one of the entrances to the mall up there. If you didn't want to go into Montgomery Ward, you could enter the mall through that corridor there. And then we're heading up towards the main entrance. Here's the original entrance right here, where the big mall sign would have been right over where this little pointy area is here. Oh, this is the Kresge store in downtown Pontiac before it moved out to the mall. And here's an artist rendition of what the Kresge store would look like inside the mall. Here's what the mall looks like inside now in that same view, looking toward the old Kresge's. This view is inside the main corridor looking toward Hudson's, right in front of Kresge's. Another view of the same shot here. And there's what it looked like after the mall was remodeled. And you can see how much different and, I think, colder, more institutionalized it looks. I don't think they did a good job on the remodel at all. They did away with the terrazzo and marble floors, which in exchange for ceramic tile. They got rid of all the water features in the mall. And it's just so sad how they did it. I think the original mall was much more artistically sound. And if we come up here and look at this, you can see in the corner of this picture the edge of the Hudson's logo. And if you look at how the corner matches up perfectly here, you can see the remnants of the Hudson logo up here on the building. Exact matchup from that picture I just showed you. And the Hudson store has been gone for a long time because it was renamed Marshall Field's and then Macy's after that. So that's just one little thing left of the great old Hudson's department store chain, which dominated Metro Detroit shopping for years. On the very south end of the building here, where this was the original Hudson's bargain store here until it was expanded in '65, the inside of the mall was beautifully decorated with very contemporary, up-to-date styling and bright colors like people hadn't seen in shopping centers before. On this end of the store, from here over, was a Kroger store, which only lasted a few years because Hudson's ended up taking over the space down here, and a grocery store was moved to another location. But it ended up being a bank and travel agency down at this end of the mall for most of the years that the mall was open. And you can see there's still the night depository box from the bank there, and then the travel agent would have been right in this area here. And then Hudson's was expanded to 2 stories. It included the lower level here and this 2-story upper level here, as well as a basement area when the mall was initially expanded in 1965 or 66. And we're just going to drive around back here a little bit and have a look. On the outlot areas beyond us, car dealerships were added later on, as well as a back area of the mall with some new stores in the 80s came in here. This was the, there's a picture of Ted's that was moved to the original mall. Ted's was a fixture in dining in Oakland County on Telegraph Road for a long time. They had a restaurant here they operated for a short time before it closed down. But on the back side of the mall, they added a connecting building here that actually connected the original mall to the Sears store. The Sears store was built in like 1972, 71 or 72, and they needed a building area to connect to the Sears store. So what they did is they added on this big area here on the far side of this parking lot. You can see there, that was added on. That became a J.C. Penney's. J.C. Penney moved from Miracle Mile Shopping Center out here to Summit Place Mall when it was remodeled and reopened. And that really did help keep the mall going for a while. At the same time, they added a connecting corridor. Oh, here we go over a snow. You think we make it through the snow pile? Oh yeah, we made it okay, no problem. At the same time that they added the Pennies, they also added a food court in the back, and they expanded the movie theater to 3 screens. But you can see here the movie theater is gone now. There's nothing left of the movie theater. It used to be back here in this parking lot here. We're going to show you a little bit more of that in a second as we drive around here around the back side of Penny's and the connecting corridor that went from Montgomery Ward's all the way over to Sears. And the Picnic, you see the sign up there that says the Picnic? That's where the food court was, just inside of those doors there. And in the parking lot opposite the Picnic is where the Pontiac Mall cinemas used to be located. 3 cinema screens. Originally it was 2, and we'll get a picture of it here in a second. There's the Sears store over there in the far end, and this is the connecting corridor right here that encompassed the Penny store, a bunch of interior stores, the food court, and finally connected to Sears out here at the end of the strip mall. Before, there was a big gap between Montgomery Ward and Sears with another retail store in between. Vaguely remember it being either a large discount drugs chain or a discount grocery store. I really can't remember which it was. But it was a fair walk across the parking lot in the heat or cold to get from Montgomery Ward to Sears, and they decided the mall would do better if it was all connected and enclosed. And this was the Sears Automotive Service Center back here on the back side. Right there would be the door you'd go in to get your car worked on at Sears. Over here on the left, there's where those cars are parked at, is where the mall cinema was. And that's been gone for quite a few years now. But I remember seeing a lot of movies there back in the day. Big one I remember was Poseidon Adventure, as well as Funny Car Summer and Corvette Summer, a little known movie with Mark Hamill that came out after his famous Star Wars premiere, but it didn't do anywhere near as well for him. But the cinemas were built back here. There was 2 screens, nice brick building with landscaping around it. And here you can see it in its opening days, or right after it was closed. Very nice looking building. Originally it's called Cinema 2, and they added a 3rd screen to it and changed it to Cinema 3. Here it is as the strippers started getting involved in there. And finally the inside of it, when the metal scrappers and strippers had really gotten to it. And here's the sign out front. If you look at it, you can see originally it's divided into just 2 parts. Summit Place, it was called the mall, or the cinema, and it had the upper and lower halves for the movies. But then on the left side, you can see they divided the left side up into 3 segments so they could mark all 3 movies going down at once. Like they would say Cinema 1, Cinema 2, and Cinema 3 in those 3 boxes on the left. And they would have the movie titles up there on the marquee. Another big strip mall was built across the street from here on the other side of Telegraph, which hasn't done very well either. That's mostly empty now too. But we appreciate you watching this video, and my memories of the cinema here is kind of, like I say, a cool place because I saw quite a few movies here growing up. And we're just creeping around the back side of Sears now, toward the end of the parking lot. Over in this area, up in the front corner here, there's a special bonus surprise I'm going to have for you. Maybe within the next week I'll have that video up, or some newsworthy event that kind of odd occurrence had happened here in the parking lot of Sears in 1973. Here's some video I shot. I'm going to tack this on here in the summertime, late last summer when I drove through here, so you can see what it looks like without all the snow and that on the ground. Some of the fences that were here in this picture have been taken down now, and it's easier to get closer to buildings now than it was then, although I think the number of no trespassing signs and keep out signs on the doors and around the perimeter of the building itself have increased. and I looked online. I was only able to find one video of someone who's shot some footage inside of the mall in the last year or so. And it may have been someone who works in there or something, because when I looked around it, you can see no obvious points of entry open up anywhere where someone could get in easily. So it doesn't seem like it's too badly vandalized inside, but if you check out the other videos online from inside the mall, you can see that it looks like there's a lot of water damage and the roof's starting to leak badly in some places. And I don't think there's any saving it. I don't think there's any desire to save a mall anymore. Malls seem to be dying out at a rapid rate, so I've got a feeling this is going to meet with the fate with the wrecking ball and bulldozers before too long now. Like I said, it was always a great mall. The colors, the decorations, the artistic styling inside was really first class. Some of the stores in there were really cool. Like I say, the Kresge store moved out here from downtown Pontiac. That was always a great store. They had office supply stores, lots and lots of shoe stores, if I remember right. Fingers Office Supply, Sam and Walter's Miami Bake Shop was a really great place to get pastries, cookies, cakes, and stuff. And of course, there's at least 2 bookstores in here. Hudson's had a bookstore, or a book department, and then there was a nice bookstore right outside of Hudson's on the corridor that went down to the backside of the mall, a Hot Sam pretzel store, and lots of great memories of car shows and camper and RV shows and things like that they put on to help bring people in to look around and to check things out. Christmas shopping here was always jam-packed and very crowded. A lot of happy memories wandering around here with my dad back in the day and during the 70s, mid-60s through the early 70s, and then again maybe in the early 80s occasionally wandering around here. I hope you enjoyed this walk through the old mall. Thanks for watching my channel. Hope you have a great day. Check out my other videos for abandoned places and cool stuff. And if you have any